So, what is a third culture kid exactly?
So a third culture kid is um, basically when you are exposed to a different culture growing up than your parents are. So if you move around a lot, you face all these. So like if you move around a lot to different countries, you are exposed to all these different countries that your parents necessarily aren't exposed to. Like for me, my parents are both raised in America, but I was raised in different countries, and we both, not we both, but we've had very different perspectives on how our childhoods are affected by these cultures. Like my parents grew up all American and stuff like that, but I, had to move around and learn all these different things, and it pretty much applies to anyone who moves around, especially internationally, because you're facing all these different cultural challenges that your parents may not have.
Okay, so I guess I am the culture kid then, because even though both my parents and I were born in Malaysia, my parents spent their childhood in Malaysia, while I was brought to the States as a baby. And so I always moved back and forth between Malaysia and the States. So my childhood was this mismatch of like two different cultures.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like I was born in America, and as were my parents, but like we kind of had like a similar deal where we like moved between like Sweden and America. Like I lived in Sweden for like 4 years right as I started school, so I like came back like some like fourth grade and like didn't really know what America was all about.
Probably both of you guys feel this too, but in Malaysia, like I kind of stood out because so I was speaking like Mandarin, but then I'll have like a slither of English that just appear, and they're like, "Wait, I don't think you're quite Chinese." But then it's the same thing in America too, because then they start commenting about the accent that I use, and they're like, "Are you a foreign exchange student?" I'm like, "No." It's like I am American.
In America, when I moved from Iceland, um, yeah, like almost instantly they picked up on it. Like they were like, because I had like a slight accent and I dressed in like kind of Europeanish clothing, which is weird to distinguish. But like when I asked them, I was like, "What made you think that I wasn't American?" They were like, you just look and you just sound so different." And I was like, I had a slight accent, but okay. But yeah, it's like it was just so strange. And in Iceland, they never really questioned it. And like most of the countries, they never really questioned it until I opened my mouth. But somehow, in America, like they saw me and they were like, "She's different," for the most part.
I
Mm-hmm.
get
Yeah.
that, yeah. When I like came back from Sweden, um, like I had been living there, like, and I had like kind of just like taken on the appearance of like a European. So I came back to America when like really baggy jeans and like big clothing were
Wow.
like that was what people wore. And I was like ahead of the game by like 6 years. I was already wearing skinny jeans and I was like I had like turtlenecks
Oh my
and
god.
people would like walk up to me and be like, "You're that foreign kid. You wear girl pants."
Oh.
And I lived in Sweden. I was like, I always considered myself an American, and so did everyone around me. But like, then once I came back, like, everyone like considered me like Swedish. So it
Hmm.
was just like, you're kind of like, once you've gone through this, you're like a foreigner, no matter
Hmm.
like where you are, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting though. Like, yeah, you guys are right. Like, no matter which country you are in, like everyone always try to classify you as other. They never want to consider you as the same culture. So why is it that when I was in Malaysia, they're like American, but then when I'm in America, they're like Malaysian, or they're like,
Mm.
no, you're from China, you know? And why is that so?
I think it's just like despite there being so much more diversity and like immigration through like just rising currently, I think there's still this like kind of like singular identity standard that's just set in place. Like you can be a multiracial or multi-ethnic or have like a multicultural background, but people will still want to put you in one place. Like they'll still always want to be like, okay, but you're really from here, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's it comes to a point where it's like, yeah, so that's why we classify as third culture kids basically though, is that yeah, we have all these different experiences that build up to that. Like just having lived in these different countries and having these different memories and trying to identify ourselves as from one place. Like if someone asks you point blank, like, are you Malaysian or American, like what would you say?
I would say both.
Yeah,